What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome to today's video where we are going to be playing with the newest launch from Gourmande Girls, the Bitten palette. And y'all, I am so excited about this one. This color story has my name written all over it, and I love the vampire theme that she is bringing us for Valentine's Day. But the cover art, look at how cute that is. It comes to us from the ever talented Doodles by the Bunny, and she killed it with this. She always does. I would expect nothing less from her. But this color story, y'all, how beautiful is that color story with the purples and the berries. We've got a pop of red in here. We do have some more gray leaning tones, which aren't my absolute favorite, but honestly, I kind of like them paired with purples. They're growing on me, let's just say that. But we've got a good mix of cool tones and warm tones in here. This is going to be a 14 pan color story. You're going to get 9 mattes and 5 shimmers in here. And these shimmers look like they have some shifts going on to them. Absolutely beautiful. Now this palette does launch on Monday, January the 27th. I'm not exactly sure what time or how much it's going to retail for, but I will have all those details down below in the description box as soon as they are available to me. I also want to mention that I did receive this palette in PR. I am affiliated with the brand, and my code Sarah will save you 10%. You do not have to use it, but if you do choose to, I thank you so much for helping support me and my channel. But I'm excited about this palette. We're going to create 2 looks with it today. So like I said, everything will be down in the description box, as well as everything that I use on my face today to create my look. So per usual, if you're ever curious about anything I use in any of my videos here on my channel, always check the description box. I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little space. But without further ado, let's go ahead and zoom in, prime my eyes, and get into creating our looks. Alright, y'all, so my eyes are primed and ready to go with my MAC paint pot in the shade Painterly. And for my first look, I really want to play with this red shade over here and maybe incorporate a little bit of this black. Do something a little deep and vampy, no pun intended. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start with this gray shade over here. I know, who am I? But that shade is called Elemental Dust. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up with a Morphe M504 brush. And I am just going to start by kind of blending this into my crease, building up a little bit of depth and definition, and just, you know, giving me a good starting point. Like I said, we're going to do something a little deep, a little smoky, a little vampy. So I'm just going to keep blending this into my crease, kind of buffing it into my outer corner a little bit, get my hair out of my way. Normally I kind of pull my hair out of my face so it's not bothering me, but I washed my headband because it had like a bunch of like product and makeup and hair stuff on it, and it's wet, so it just is what it is. But I'm just going to continue to build this up in my crease, blending it up towards my brow bone and just dispersing it right out here. And I think, do I want to bring this down onto my lower lash line? I don't know yet, so for now we're just going to keep it in my crease. Alright, so next we're going to go into this deep red shade right here, which is called Bloodlust. So I'm going to pick that up with a Morphe M453 brush, and I'm going to start to build up my outer corner. I am going to go in pretty light-handed because, yeah, this is very pigmented. Gourmande Girls always has a pigmented formula, but it's very easy to work with, and I don't really get fallout. If I do, it's usually with like the really dark shades when I go to deepen up my outer corner, but so far I am not getting any fallout. This is building up really nicely, so I'm just kind of pressing and building up that shade. I'm not really blending it out yet because I want to make sure that I get the full pigmentation of the shade. I don't want it to come off pink or anything like that. So I'm just going to keep pressing and building, and once I have it where I want it, I can go back very softly on the edges and start to blend. But I just want to do it on the edge. I don't want to bring it over onto my lid and start to fade out that shade. Alright, so I'm going to take that shade down onto my lower lash line as well. I'm just going in with a very light buffing motion. I just kind of dipped the very tip of my brush into the pan and just very lightly back and forth motions, making sure that I kind of pack it, but I disperse it as well. And this one is definitely holding on to its pigmentation. A lot of times reds can sort of fluff out into like a more desaturated pink shade if you blend them too much, and this one's not doing it. It's really holding on to its pigmentation. It is so beautiful. I love the way this is looking on my skin, and even that gray shade, it came off a little bit purpley on my cool undertones, which is always something to keep in mind, that depending on your undertone can really depend on how shades are going to be portrayed on your skin. So like I said, something to keep in mind. All right, so next what I think I want to do is I want to go into this deep shade over here, and it's not a black, it's like a really, really deep purple shade, but I want to use it to build up a little bit of depth in my outer corner. So that shade is called Hellmouth, and I am going to pick it up with a Morphe M506 brush, and I am just very lightly going to tap it right here on my outer corner, kind of building up that depth slowly. I don't want to overdo it, but I didn't want to underdo it like I did either. There we go. So I'm just going to kind of tap it right here in the very outer corner, and once I have that shade down, I can very softly kind of blend it inwards. I don't want to blend it out because I don't want to drag that shade out here, but I don't want to overdo it and have it take over the look. So I'm just very softly blending inwards. That is really, really pretty. Oh, I love it. I'm also going to bring that down onto the very outer portion of my lower lash line as well, and just kind of wrap it around out here. All right, so lastly, I'm going in with that first shade that I used in my crease, which is called Elemental Dust. I just picked it up with that same brush, and I'm just fluffing it right along my lower lash line, bringing it all the way over to my inner corner. So I'm just kind of buffing out everything that I did out here and bringing that shade over. So per usual, my eye is primed and ready to go with my NYX glitter primer, and for shimmer, I'm trying to decide between these two shades right here. So I'm going to swatch both of them out on the back of my hand, and we're going to start with this one right here, which is called Euphoria. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that on my finger. Oh my gosh, that is so, so beautiful. So that is going to be our first choice, which I think is going to be beautiful all over the lid. But I do want to swatch out this one as well, which is called Hysteria. So let's see what this one is going to look like, because I have such a hard time with decisions, but look at that one. Oh my gosh, that is a beautiful plummy purple shade, and it has some really pretty like colorful sparkles in there. Both of these feel very smooth, and they didn't feel textured or anything like that. Very reflective. So I think what we're gonna do, oh, this is a really hard decision, but I think we're gonna go in with this shade right here, which is called Euphoria, and maybe we'll take the next look a little bit darker. This one didn't go quite as dark as I had planned, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which like I said is called Euphoria. I am going to pick that up with my BK Beauty 203 brush. I am going to spray it with some MAC Fix Plus. I always spray my shimmers, I always prime my lid. It's just what I like to do. So give it a little spritz, and we're going to start by pressing this all over the lid and just building up the pigmentation that I want. If I need to go back in, I absolutely can do so, but I don't want to start to kind of swipe or blend quite yet because I want to make sure I get the full pigmentation. That is so beautiful. But now I can go back and start to blend with my brush and make sure that it's nice and blended out here, and bring it over to my inner corner, but not into my inner corner, because we're gonna go in with another shade. And I think for the inner corner, we're gonna go in with this one right here, this really pretty iridescent shade, which is called Mina. So let's do a swatch of that one right here. That is what that shade looks like. Ooh, that is such a gorgeous shade. It has a really pretty like purpley berry pink flip to it. It's gonna look stunning on the inner corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up with this little guy right here. This is a Morphe M421 brush. Pick it up, spray it once again, and we're gonna pop this in my inner corner. And I'm also gonna kind of blend it up onto my lid and down onto my lower lash line, just so I don't have like a glob of lightness and brightness just kind of sitting there. I like everything to be nice and blended and just kind of flow from one shade to another the best that I possibly can. And there we have our first completed look with this palette, and I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I am loving the berry tones in this palette. Even that gray shade in my crease I think looks really pretty, although it did come off a little purple, so that kind of played in its favor, but I didn't have any issues creating this look. I thought everything was nice and pigmented. It blended out really nice. The shimmers were sparkly and smooth on my lid. They're not emphasizing texture, and I didn't get any fallout. But let's go over what I did use to finish off this look so we can pop back into this palette and create our second look. So in my lower waterline, I went in with a Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liner in the shade Bordeaux. I lined my lid with my ZC liquid liner and finished everything off with my Il Makiage Black Card mascara. But let's pop back into this palette. So I definitely want to do something deep and smoky for this look. So I think what I'm actually going to do is something a little different that I don't ever do. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone on this one, and we're going to start with this shade right here, which is called Vampira. And I am going to pick that up with, let's go in with this brush right here. This is a Sigma E24 brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack this all over my lid. I don't normally do looks like this, but I want to do something dark and smoky and a little vampy. So I am just going to start by pressing this, like I said, all over my lid, and I'm going to kind of press it into like where my socket is or like my crease is, but I'm not going to blend it above there because I want to go in with another shade. So I'm just going to keep dipping back in and building this shade up on my lid, making sure that it is nice and covered. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that shade down onto my lower lash line as well. So basically covering my whole lid and lower lash line, but I am going to leave this little outer portion open because I want to do something dark and smoky out there. So I'm just going to keep packing and blending away. So next what I want to do is I want to go into this shade down here, which is called Fangs, and I want to build up my outer corner. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up with a BK Beauty 211 brush, and I am just going to very lightly start building up the shape that I want out here and a little bit of depth at the same time. So I'm going to start by kind of pressing it, bringing it in just a little bit and just making that shape that I want. I'm not going to start to buff it out or anything like that because I'm going to use another shade for that. So this is going to be a little bit of a trust the process look. At least I hope it is. I hope it doesn't turn out to be a complete disaster. But I am going to bring this down onto the outer portion of my lower lash line as well. So just kind of wrapping that depth around right out here. All right, so now we're gonna go into this lavender shade right here, which is called Immortal. And I'm gonna pick that up with a Singe Beauty EO3 brush, and I'm gonna start to buff out the edges of this look. Now you can leave this here and just like have a really nice kind of sharp, crisp look, or you can blend it out, which is what I'm going to do. I like my looks to be very blended. So I am just very light-handed going right along the edges of these shades and just kind of buffing them out. So I'm doing little swirling motions. I'm going in with very light pressure, and I might have to dip back in several times. So I don't want to go in too heavy-handed and really have it kind of take over. Since it is a more pastel leaning shade, it can really kind of mute out some of those shades and kind of make them disappear a little bit. I don't want that to happen. I just want them to kind of fade and soften a little bit more, just like that. So I'm just going to keep going back with a little bit more and just keep repeating the process until I am happy with the result. So I'm going to bring that right here into my inner corner as well, just kind of following that line over here as well. And I'm also going to bring it down onto my lower lash line. So basically I'm just going around the entire perimeter of this eye look, kind of smoking it out, blowing it out while softening those harsh lines as well. All right, so this is what we are looking like, and honestly, you could leave this as an all matte look, throw on some liner and mascara, and it would be absolutely beautiful, but we are going to put a shimmer on this lid, and I'm actually going to skip NYX Glitter Primer because I don't want to lift up that shade that's underneath it, and that can be known to do it because it is so tacky. So we're just going to go ahead and apply it with a sprayed brush, but what we're going to do is, I think we're going to do maybe this shade all over the lid. That one was really pretty when I swatched it out, but I want to swatch out this one up here as well, which is called Slayer. Y'all, these names in here are absolutely killing me. I love it so much, but that is the shade Slayer, and that is really, really pretty. I think that's gonna look beautiful on the lid. So I think we're gonna go in with that shade instead because I do have that deeper base underneath, so I'm not really concerned about it being super opaque. I'm kind of liking the fact that it has a little bit of a sheer base. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that off with a sort of cleaned off BK Beauty 203 brush. I just wiped it off on a towel, and I am going to spray it like I said, and I'm gonna make sure that I spray it a little more generously than I normally would because I don't have that tacky base down. So we're just going to spray it And I'm going to press this all over the lid. You don't want to swipe because you do have that shade down. So I am just going to press. I did get a little bit of fallout. I felt it hit my cheek, but I don't have any primer on my lid, so that could be why. But we're just going to keep building this up on my lid. Alright y'all, so that is going to complete our second look with this palette, and this one is by far my favorite of the two looks. I'm really loving this smoky purple eye look, and honestly, I was a little nervous when I started creating this look because I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but it is so beautiful, and I really need to step out of my comfort zone more often because I do get beautiful looks like this when I do that. And again, I didn't have any issues performance-wise creating this look, but let's go over what I did use to finish off this look so we can turn the lights down, see the shimmer, the shift, the sparkle, and then close out this video with my first initial impression thoughts. So I did go in with the same liquid liner and mascara that I used in the first look, and then for my lower waterline I went in with a Kylie Cosmetics black liner just to kind of smoke it out a little bit more. Alright y'all, so based off of first impression, I absolutely love this palette. I thought it was beautiful. I really enjoyed playing with it. I love the two looks that I created, and the color story in here is a very me color story, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. But this is the good Gourmande Girls formula that I know and love from the brand. I thought the quality in here was fantastic. The mattes in here performed beautifully. I did not have any issues with patching, skipping, or fallout. They were all nice and pigmented, but they were still buildable and blendable at the same time. I was able to blend out the darker shades and then build up on top of the lighter shades, so you really get a lot of versatility with the mattes in here. And I think the matte selection in this palette is beautiful. It goes from dark to light. You got some beautiful mid-tones in here. I love the variety of the cool tones and the warm tones in here, and even this gray shade I actually really liked, but like I said, it did come off a little purple leaning on my lid, so that's probably why I liked it so much. And as far as the shimmers in here go, I thought they were beautiful. I didn't have any issues with any kind of emphasizing of texture. They were all nice and smooth, very reflective on the lid. I did get a little bit of fallout over here, but it's not very much at all. Like, you can't even see it on my face. I just felt like the tiniest little dot hit my cheek when I was applying it, so that's how I knew that I got it. But beautiful color story in here, and I really like the selection of shimmers in this palette. They all look like they're going to be very deep on the lid with the exception of this one, but like this one, and which one was it? I think it was this one right here, had a little bit more of a translucent base to it, so you're definitely going to get some lighter looks with this palette if you want to, or you can really take it deep and vampy. You could probably do something even a little bit deeper than what I did. So even though it's almost like a monochromatic kind of purple berry leaning palette, you can definitely get a good variety of looks with this one, and I just think it's absolutely beautiful. I think she did a fantastic job with the curation and the formula of this palette. Once again, Doodles by the Bunny killed it with the packaging, and I'm really excited with this palette. I thought the Frozen Kiss was going to be like my #1 palette from the brand, but I think this one might take that place. I think I like this one a little bit more, but obviously I still need to play around with it because I have some shades that I was not able to get to, so I will keep y'all posted in a future palette ranking video. But for today, that is going to complete this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Let me know if you plan on picking up this palette. Which look was your favorite? I want to know it all. Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section, and as always, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.